Okay, checking out Budgetbee. This is an expense tracking web application that's supposed to make it less tedious and difficult to manage your finances. Okay, first look at this landing page. I do love how the rotation here explains kind of the various things that it tracks, and sort of leading question explain what problems that it's solving. It's dope. Um, all right, scrolling down here. My only qualm with this, I think this would almost be better served being a video or some sort of visual indication of what it does rather than a static image of the dashboard itself. But I do like getting a view, a preemptive view of the dashboard before I click in, so I'm not overwhelmed. Okay, easy way to track expenses. Scrolling down here, I like these three cards a bunch. These are beautiful, very clear. I don't know what this is. Um, I think you might want to add like some text up top in like this section right here to indicate, is it invoice? Okay, back to it here. All right, let's go ahead and get started with Budgetbee. I'm going to assume it's a join sign in. Okay, Google sign in. Missing field. Okay, let's go for gradient. This. All right, so I'm now in the dashboard. Okay, so quick thought here is not much onboarding, just spits you right into this dashboard. So I'm not sure kind of immediately how to get started. So let me go check on home, see kind of where that takes me. Maybe there'll be some insights there. No. Click on insights. Okay, so this takes you to your past spending. Okay, and then this was home. All right, so if I log an entry, let's say $50. Day-to-day message, vibes. I don't have any categories at this time. No tags. Okay, create. So if I create this, will I not have this? How do I make a category? Oh, okay. All right, so this would be one thing. People, yeah, I worked at or at a financial company for a long time, and people want to add categories and organize their spending. That's like the most important thing. Have this be prominent. Either have a kind of onboarding flow that guides me to create my first category, so I'll always know that it's in this drop down here, or I'll just put a separate button for that specifically, or even just if I click here, make it so I can just add a category like easily. All right, let's try creating a category. Let's say errands, or sorry, better yet, groceries. All right, $50 of groceries, pretty normal transaction. Okay, so I've created that now. How could I add? Oh, okay. I can't edit this entry. Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess one thing here would be allow people to edit their entries. Is there any way I can only delete and add entries. Okay. Let's see. Do another, so log entries is another one. You can do multiple. Okay. Another suggestion for an app like this would be importing. I'd love to be able to import my own like spreadsheets and stuff into this, because then I don't have to like add them in one by one. Let's go over to insights. Okay, spike in spending, and let's go account settings. Okay, cool. App settings, theme. Okay, I love that. I love that. And you can pick your currency. Pretty helpful. Okay, and then go to insights. What if Oh, so let me go over here. How would I add like spending? Is it like negative or something? So I now have a category for groceries. I don't really know what, okay, you can, no category to tag. Okay, test. How do I add like spending, right? This all appears to be like plus up of money, right? So if I go to insights, this means I now have a higher income, which how would I add expenses? That would be my immediate question here, because usually people don't have the most complicated income. People are probably gonna have more complicated expenses. People usually only have a few income sources, whereas expenses can come from anywhere, right? So how I add expenses would be something to highlight for your onboarding. Okay, let me give it a try. Log entry. Maybe I need to create a tag or a category for spending, and then that will ensure that I have what I need. Let's try. So log entry, include a category for spending, say $25. Create that. It's here. And again, it's still positive, so I'm not sure how to make this negative, which is what I would need. What if I go for negative 25? Will that turn into spending? Category groceries. Negative 25. No tag needed. Easy. Create. Okay. And then if I go to insights, I now have one expense. Okay. So income. Cool. And then I guess my other question is, like, am I able to see insights besides just income and expenses? Like, where is all the dashboard stuff? Do I need to like pay for that? Okay, so what do I get if I upgrade to Pro? Okay, so looking back at the overview, I was under the impression that I would get all of this stuff. Weekly report, all this stuff. So perhaps I need to, what is it? Component got dashboard here. Components, entry, boom, 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 developers, automation. I'm not seeing any of that stuff. So I'm going to assume that I need to pay to get the other stuff that is a part of that, because as it stands now, it would just be, let's go back to my dashboard here. Yeah, I don't have any of this stuff, right? This is all I have, is the track your expenses and easy collaboration. I'm not sure. I didn't see any call to actions for that, but I'm going to assume that would, let me go check. 5 users. Okay, so you need to have, okay, no worries. Let's go back to the dashboard. I mean, this is cool as like a easy, kind of simple tracker. I feel like this would be better for almost something like tracking one type of expense, like how much are you spending on groceries right now, because adding in all your transactions manually isn't going to be attractive if you have like a complicated financial life. So if you're spending money on childcare, groceries, student debt, and rent, that's going to be frustrating over time to keep manually entering these one by one by one by one by one. Even if you do multiple, you're still entering in your finances manually, right? Which will be 10, 30, right? $50. And then I also need to be aware that they have to be negative, which isn't told to me. So if I mess up and don't do that right, so you should have either a separate button that lets you pick, oh, is this an expense? Well, when I click log entries or in this area, is it an expense or is it income? So it's easy without me having to manage the negatives manually, or allow for easy import of somebody's finances in here. That way it's super straightforward, super easy. But overall, I mean, it's a robust application. It seems to work, so I'm not judging you on anything like that, but one improvement would be make it easy. Make it as easy as possible, because finances already are a headache and confusing to manage, even if you're good at it. And your tool needs to compete with Google Sheets, right? Like if it's easier for me to pull out a CSV from my banking application, my bank account, and just toss that in Google Sheets, I'm gonna want to do that, and then just use a function of some kind to generate this, this insight ticker you have here over signing up for an account on your platform and entering them in manually. But overall, solid application. Hyped to try it out. And again, this is, oh, how do I get back to the dashboard? Oh, my bad. This is Budgetbee, though. Thank you for letting me test this out. Stop recording.